Writers often get asked one question in particular. Why do you write? And strangely enough, this question, in accordance with their own profession, of course, never gets asked to, say, carpenters or ice cream merchants. Is our job that much stranger? Is it that much more incomprehensible? Our answers to this pivotal question mainly vary from because I don't know any better to because I'm also very talented. But rarely do we hear the question that's underneath the surface. Why does anyone write? Why does the world need writings? Why does the world need ice cream? Mutatis mutandis, why do we need the table and why is it, for God's sakes, that we need ice cream? As I started out writing in 2010, I've written 4 novels and countless articles, and still I'm not able to answer this question honestly and fully. Maybe if I'm lucky, I will be able to do so on my deathbed. What I do know, though, is that narration, the telling of stories, is an absolute necessity for all of us. It is an existential necessity even. I know this sounds pompous, but rest assured, it is not. We all tell stories, we all use stories, we tell them to ourselves and to others to find out our place in the world. In short, we lie to find out who we truly are. Think of the man who tells himself that he is a good father, an integral part of the family business, a good husband, the woman who tells herself she is a good wife, a good mother, a good employee, whatever. These are stories, part lie, part truth. In many respects, the distinction between truth and lie may turn out to be irrelevant. Because the ultimate truth about the world is, of course, that it is essentially chaotic. It is filled with so many different truths, perspectives, narratives, dreams and hopes, that one man's truth is another man's lie. It's as simple and as complicated as that. Let me clarify one thing. When I speak of lies, I don't mean this in a moral sense. A lie for me is just something that does not correspond with what is commonly held to be the truth. That's all. If one feels more comfortable using the word fiction or fantasy, one should go right ahead. The power of the fictions we tell ourselves. The most common, most important lie the basic lie of human existence is, of course, that we are all special. I'm sorry. The first human being that finds himself truly bland and ordinary, that has no hope for a special path set out for him and him alone, has yet to be born. We need the illusion of importance, because without it, why would we strive for improvement? Why would we strive for greatness, for something bigger than ourselves? We need this illusion because without it, specialness would cease to exist and the concept of ambition would simply wither and die. We need our illusions, and to be more precise, we need our illusions to be linear. We are so permeated by the concept of making mistakes and learning from them, of living and learning the hard way, of constant improvement as we grow older, that we have no place for luck or chance in the narrative of our past. While we fully acknowledge the power of luck and randomness in our past, in today, we deny its power in the past. This sounds complicated, but it is not. We tell ourselves, even the bad things that happen to me, they happened to me for a reason. They made me into who I am today. Be honest, if I were to ask you, if I were to offer you the chance to do it all over again, how many of you would simply say no? Or, I could do it, but it would make no sense because the choices I would make would be the same choices that I have made in reality, and so my life would turn out almost exactly or exactly the way it has turned out in reality. But this, of course, is nonsense. But we simply cannot grasp that our lives could easily have gone another way. Odds are that your life could easily have turned out better than it has in reality if you had a little bit of luck in September 1996 or whatever. But we cannot grasp this. This is unacceptable to us. We need necessity in our fictions. So there's always this tension between predestination and randomness. And the best example of this tension maybe is love. Modern love lives, as you well know, are essentially chaotic and filled with chance and random encounters. And still, each time we embark on what we tellingly call a new chapter, we say to ourselves, this might be the one. And if the affair comes to an end, we say, it was not meant to be, or it was not written in the stars for us. When the affair leads to a happy family, a marriage, to children, we say, I knew it the moment she walked in the room. Thus, we create necessity in our fictions to be able to be at peace with them. And there's nothing wrong with this, it's just the way it is. The existential necessity of fictions may be best illustrated by people who just lost their jobs. Earlier this year, I made a long series for the Volkskrant in which I interviewed these unemployed. And the premise of the series was that one's idea of self-worth, one's sense of identity, oftentimes revolves around one's daily work. And this premise turned out to be true in all cases. And the narrative the employee believes in most is not that of the talented employee, it's not of the good and faithful employee, it is that of the indispensable employee. And when one loses his job, this fiction is simply broken in two, and there's suddenly this gap between fiction and reality, a gap that is far too wide to cross. So the unemployed, well, they have a depression or fall into some existential pit. Either way, there has to be a new fiction, has to come a new fiction in place in which he can believe. And only when this new fiction is constructed, a fiction in which the losing of the job is only an obstacle that had to be overcome, and only when this fiction is believed by both body and mind, only then the person, the employee, will be able to fully function again. This is the importance, the existential dominance of fictions, of lies. Now, I have a task for you. When you come home this evening, walk straight to the mirror. Take a long and hard look at yourself. Try to dissect yourself. Try to name your fictions. Try to understand them, how they work. Try to accept them even, and maybe even try to love them. Because by knowing your fictions, I am sure you will be able to know yourself just a little bit better. And remember, the thing a person that looks into the mirror fears most is not seeing someone he dislikes, it's seeing no one at all.